Hi, if you realize that you struggle with codependency or at least with codependent traits, then to overcome codependency, it's imperative that we learn how to confront in a healthy and safe way. Oftentimes when we struggle with codependency, we are not good at confronting because we've been getting value by being compliant and obedient and helpful. So for us to now start to confront, it's really scary that now we're going to lose our value to someone else, and ultimately our greatest fear is that they're then going to leave us or like replace us with someone else. So it's really hard for someone to confront when they have codependency because we're so afraid already the person's going to leave, and now not only am I not valuable to you because I'm not just doing everything you need from me, instead of that I'm actually telling you a problem I have. That requires a great deal of trust on my part with you, that you're going to hear my problem or my complaint, my confrontational issue, and that you're going to stick around and still love me anyways. So when you struggle with codependency, that's a big reason why we cannot confront, or that we get panic, we'll feel so much anxiety and so much fear that we actually just won't confront, right? And sometimes the problem comes out in other ways that are really not helpful. So it's super important in any relationship that we learn how to confront. So whether you call it carefront or approaching someone, however you want to, whatever word you want to use that's more comfortable, familiar for you, really it's confronting, right? I'm confronting an issue head on. And that's vital to have a healthy, effective, lasting relationship. You have to be able to say what you're really feeling, what's really going on, what it is you don't like, or what it is you need, right? Or what the disappointment was you experienced. We actually get closer to our partners and to each other when we're able to confront and communicate in a healthy, safe way. So usually we've swung so far over here for so long, by the time it becomes a need to confront, like we can't take it anymore, then we swing really hard, then we come in hot, come in heavy, and that can be, really hard for someone to hear. And then that only reaffirms the fact that someone doesn't love us enough for us to tell them a problem we're having. But we don't really see how it's kind of the way we're coming at it, our approach in the confrontation. So this all comes from How to Stop Chasing Rejection. And in the book, it really walks you through how to be able to confront, because that is a huge part of overcoming codependency. We have to learn what our value is, learn to be able to trust in ourselves enough that if someone leaves us because we brought an issue to them, that they probably need to leave us, right? So if I'm with someone who I can never say what's wrong, I can never say what they're doing that's hurting me or disappointing me or something different that I want, if I never get that same freedom or equal rights in the relationship, I don't have a relationship with you anyways, right? And you need to go, because this isn't going to work for me. But that is part of a progression of healing. So it's important to learn, all this to say, it's important to learn how to confront in a healthy and safe way. So the book, again, you can find it on Amazon.com. It walks you through the steps and process of sort of working towards learning how to confront when you struggle with codependency. So if you've ever tried to confront or learn other ways of confronting, it can be different because it's not coming from the lens of, oh, but I'm talking with someone or trying to teach someone who struggles with codependency. Whereas the book is really specific to when you struggle with codependency, this is how you can learn to confront. So one of the things is to write down, it's actually a list of steps. And so number one is write down what the issue or the problem is as you see it. So we have to be mindful. This is not the issue, but this is the issue as I see it. So we have to start from there, because that leaves us open to the possibility that we could be wrong, that we could be misunderstanding what the real issue is, or at least that there's going to be another perspective involved that's going to come to the table, and I want to be in a place where I can hear it. So we write down the issue, and we're doing it from the understanding of this is the issue as I see it, right? Because when we're not used to confronting, then when we finally get to a place where we confront, we're believing that this is the truth and this is how it is and this is how it always is. And so if someone's not ready to hear that, then they're a liar, they're a schemer, there are all these bad things, right? And then we really start to snowball from there. So we got to start from a place where we're open to hearing something different, but still able to say that this is the problem as I see it. So this is before you have a conversation with another person. You got to kind of wrestle it out or work it out with yourself first, and then decide if I still need to take it to another person. So the first thing is, what's the issue or the problem as I see it? The next one is, number two is, what is one possible solution as I see it, right? So when we're confronting, it's always a good idea to try and think of, well, what would be a resolution for me from my perspective? What is it I'm looking for? Because if all we're doing is talking about the problem, we could probably do that forever, right? So there's a lot of us who could probably go through and talk and have that conversation for an extended period of time, instead of getting to a place where there is some form of a resolution. So it's not just like complaining, right? It is addressing and bringing about an issue with the hope that it's going to lead somewhere, which would be resolution. Okay, so what's one possible solution as I see it? The next one is, what is another possible solution as I see it? So the hope is that it's pushing you to also focus on, what is it that I want? Right? So hopefully I can have more than one solution, and I can be open to the fact, okay, there's more than one way to resolve this issue, which many times that is the case. Once we get some distance from it and we can back up from it, we can start to see like, oh, okay, so really there are many solutions to this one issue, and what would I feel good about? What are a few that I could accept and feel good about? The fourth one, who do I need to speak to about this issue? So we're really honing in on not like who is my problem with, but who is the person that I need to work through this with to be able to get to a place where we can resolve this. What really is the issue, and who really do I need to speak with about this? So you can see how this is already kind of making us take a step back emotionally, instead of just getting to this place where we feel all this anxiety, all this frustration, and now we just want to like vomit all that out on someone, and then we end up making a mess, and then we feel bad about it, and then we take it back, right? Now we're being double-minded and we're not stable. So instead of that, we want to spend more time outside of going into the confrontation dealing with ourselves. So who do I need to speak to about the issue? Number 5 is, when is a good time for me to bring it up? So that's really important. You don't want to try to have this big conversation 5 minutes before you're walking out the door, or right before someone has to go to work, where you can't really spend some time talking about it. But it's interesting because when we struggle with codependent traits, sometimes we do that, and then when the person's like, listen, I can't talk about this right now, I have to leave, even though we might have known they had to leave somewhere inside of us, we're still going to take it as though, I knew this wasn't going to work. I knew this was the worst thing. I knew they didn't really care about me, right? We're going to try to assign meaning. So really spending time outside of the moment, when's a good time to talk about this, super important. Number 6, if you decide to confront someone, once you do, you can actually read those responses. So that's always super helpful. So you wouldn't want to accuse the other person of something. You wouldn't want to vilify them, right? A really important thing is that you hear them out, and also that you're clear in your presentation. So you're clear in what the issue is, you're clear in who it is you want to talk to, and you're really clear in 2 possible solutions that you want to bring to the table. Those are really about you, and that's what we're going to try to effectively communicate. But we're also going to listen to their responses to see if there's another solution, or maybe there is someone different we need to talk to, or understand that the possibility is they could see the issue differently than us, right? So that's why it's really helpful to write this stuff down on paper and look at it, so that when you go, you can be clear in what it is you're trying to say. And it's okay to take your paper with you, right? To say, I'm scared I'm going to butcher this. This is really important to me, so let me just read you my notes I have, so I can make sure I'm staying on task, that I'm staying on topic of what it is I want to talk about. Number 7, if you decide you need to follow up through and confront someone after you have the experience, then you can reflect on it, right? And you can see if there's a boundary that you need to set. So it's okay to go back with the information you were given, to reflect on it some more, pick through some of that, decide if it's worth another conversation. Or it is not uncommon to go through all the steps. What is the issue as I see it? Who do I feel I need to speak with? What are 2 possible solutions? Sometimes in going through that process, you might even find that actually it was just with me. Like my issue was with me and a boundary I'm not holding. So I'm just going to start with myself, and I'm going to practice setting that boundary, right? So that in that case, I wouldn't actually go talk to anyone. I've just kind of dealt with the situation with myself, and sometimes that is what needs to happen. You'll know that because later on when you reflect, it's going to be like, okay, I set the boundary, I dealt with it, it's not changing. Let me go through these steps again, decide if there's someone else I need to speak with, and then let me try to talk to them. So I think that it's really possible to learn how to confront in a healthy and a safe way. It's so hard the first maybe like 1 or 2 times you have to do it. But you might find, as many do, that once you sort of take that first try and you try to do it in a healthy way, you gain muscle for it very quickly, and it becomes easier and easier and easier. It's easier to just kind of go through those steps. You kind of go through them more quickly, and you do that with yourself, and then you talk to the person who the problem is. So again, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to not vilify the person, not tell them what they're doing wrong, not tell them what they always do, what a disappointment they are. It's more important to say, you know, this is the issue as I see it, and this is what I would like to see instead. And then ask them, what do you think about that? Right? Because I'm giving them a chance to give feedback, because we want to resolve this relationally, not individually, if the issue is with another person. So to resolve it relationally, you have to leave room for back and forth. You have to make room for exchange, right? And if you just shut it down and blame someone and accuse them and vilify them, we're not leaving any room relationally to resolve the relational issue, right? So that's why it's really important to kind of get those emotions out, really like sift through all of it, figure out what that like the meat is, write that on the paper, and that's what you want to talk about. Hopefully you find some sort of a nugget in this. Always go with your gut, do what feels right to you at the end of everything, right? You have to be the decider of your decisions. Again, you can find the book, How to Stop Chasing Rejection, on Amazon.com. Take good care, and I'll see you in the next one.